I'll tell you, you are live. Hey, Scott. So, what were you wanting to lay on me?
So I just got back from New York. I was out. My wife and I traveled. Are you live?
Yeah,
I'm trying to
I'm
watch
live.
you.
I'm live.
Oh, there it is. Scott made it there. Now he's making it anywhere.
Yeah. Yep.
so, so I went to. So one of the things. So I went to New York City. My wife and I. We went to New Jersey to see a friend, and then we went to New York City. One of the things I used to love to do in New York City was visit all the art supply stores. There were tons
Uh
of them,
huh.
and slowly they've all gone out of business.
Oh yeah. Sure. Yeah.
I went to one that was not a Dick Blick,
Yep.
and I went to about three Dick Blicks, but or I went to two. Sorry. Um, One of the ones I went to, Ellis, and this is why I'm telling you this. I bought lead, like lead holder lead.
Uh huh.
Okay, so this is F. So I went to the School of Visual Arts up on 59th or 50th or whatever street it's on, and they have an art supply store there, kind of in their lobby. And I
Uh
always go
huh.
there and check stuff out.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah. I haven't been there in ages.
they had a sell rack, and they were selling these leads. These not were for $2.50 for the 10 pack. Normally, this is
Wow.
$10. They're a buck a piece normally. I bought
Wow.
every single one they had. Now it was only the F's. They said nobody wants F here, and so I was like, "Well, I bought. They had 10 of them. I bought 10 of them,
Uh
and
huh.
they were kind of joking about, well, you're set for lead for life, and I go,
Yeah.
well,
Oh yeah.
maybe,
That's a lifetime
maybe.
supply there.
Well, I got a lot of lead, so it could be, but anyway, if you want one of these, and I bought it, and that's what I told him. I said, "Well, I'll probably give some of these away. If you'll use it, I'll give you one. I don't know if you use
Well,
a lead holder.
I would be very curious what it feels like.
Okay, yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if is it. It's hard, right?
it's harder than a. It's between a B. I'm sorry, it's between an H and an HB.
So somehow it's landing right in the middle of
Yes,
HB and H.
right.
Huh.
Suppose
Okay.
supposedly now this is a Faber Castell. And I have a bunch of these already. I bought a 3 pack on eBay a few years ago for like, I think I paid like $20 for a 3 pack, which I thought was a deal at the time too. Which what it was, but what I got this time was even more of a deal. Anyway, so I'll if you're interested, I'll give you one of those and you can try it out. If you don't like it, you can give it back or whatever. I mean,
Okay. Yeah. I mean, after all, it only takes one lead for me to know whether or not I think I'll actually break it. I've got so many. I've got so. I've told you this before. My disease is buying art supplies.
oh, dude,
It's
I have. Well, I'll show you. Okay, so I cleaned up my studio a few weeks ago,
hmm
and so okay, so this is like that.
Look at this. Cool. This is cool.
This box right here is from. It replaced the one I had in college. It's filled with art supplies. I mean, it's stuffed.
Solid kneaded erasers. That's all that's in
Yes,
there.
solid kneaded erasers. Right here are canvas boards that I bought at Ross the other day when I
Yeah,
was well, it was back when I was
I've
painting.
got about 10 of those I haven't used.
Yeah, I paid $9 for them.
hmm
I got acrylics. Those are huge tubes of acrylic I bought at Ross for cheap. There's a couple other
At,
things up there.
at
So,
Ross, okay. I'm the stuff at Walmart that's acrylic is just so soupy.
oh yeah.
It's worthless.
Well, I don't know if this is any good. Anyway, so this is like my comic stuff. This comic boxes.
Uh
Down there
huh.
on the flat files is where I keep all my art, previous art, and paper. So there's some Bristol board in there, some paper. You can see there's a stack of paper here on the floor
Yeah.
under.
Yeah, yeah, buy that paper, and that paper is pretty versatile stuff. Really good paper. You can do just
So
about anything with really thick paper. Go ahead,
so
continue
this
the
is like
tour.
This
Oh,
is
let me
all
make
the
it bigger. What am I doing? There you go.
Oh, geez.
Now, there we go. Oops. Well, you know what? I think the crop is better with the little one. Yeah, there we go. Now we see more. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so this is all the pencils that I have on my.
Sure.
This is next to my desk. And there's like 6 pencil holders. Over here, I have more with my coffee.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so then on my desk, I have this, which is
Yeah, the
my
pencils you
mechanical
actually
pencils.
use.
The pencils I actually use, and then like I have this. So this is my wife's been bugging me about this because in the floor I have all these.
Yeah, your discards.
Well, these were in a plastic bag. I think they came from downstairs in the library,
And you
and
and you felt like they were
and I
going to
brought them up
waste.
here. Well, when I was cleaning, I brought them up here, and when we were leaving town, I was looking for pencils to put in my bag,
Uh-huh.
and so I just dumped them out real quick because I was
Uh-huh.
trying to pack.
Yeah,
And she
yeah.
says, "You dumped all these pencils out," and I go, "Well, I was digging through them, and I
Yeah.
found multiple Muji pens in here also."
Yeah, yeah,
Like you, or like I went through a phase where all I was drawing with was the Stadler Mars pencils.
yeah. That's what I did. I replaced my Muji Love with that G2 Love for probably a pretty good reason. I said, man, I can get these G2s anytime, anywhere. This is just an office supply.
Yeah.
And
Well,
but then I decided, nah, you know what? I like the ink in
the Mujis are nice. The
Yeah,
point
they are.
sevens are
Yeah.
great to draw with. I
Yeah.
went to one time we went to New York, and that's what I took with my sketchbook, and I just did ink sketches,
Mhm.
and I ran through an entire point. But the thing is, those point sevens, man, you can burn through a whole pencil pretty quick, or a whole pen pretty quick.
It uses the ink, doesn't it? Spills it out that
Yes.
tip.
Yeah, but that's okay. I mean, that's what you buy them for.
Yeah.
And what's funny is like regular ballpoints I like drawing with.
Sure. Oh yeah. Well, this is a ballpoint, correct? I mean,
Right.
It's,
Yeah.
it's
It's
nothing
a
special that way. It's a ballpoint.
Well, no, it's got a real viscous ink, I guess.
Yeah.
It really lays down the ink.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm using a 7 right now, and you're right. It's like, ooh, this is almost too gooey. I gotta be careful. If I set it down, it'll make 2 marks.
Well, I went to one time we went to New York, and I brought a Sharpie, and all I did was draw my sketchbook with a Sharpie.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean that, and I felt like I was really drawn. It's like, oh man, I'm really drawn. Oh, that reminds me, I need to. Did you see my drawings for my trip?
I've seen a few of them show up here and there.
Oh, let me go grab.
Yeah, go ahead and I'll make you a solo thing.
Let me grab my sketchbook down here.
Very cool. Yeah, in New York, you made it look. It didn't look too hazardous to you. It looked like a fun time to be there.
Oh, dude, I had
your rain pictures are kind of cool.
Oh yeah,
from your apartment. Or not apartment.
At the hotel.
Yeah.
So Michelle and I stayed at this hotel called the Yotel, which it's like a Japanese style. It's made to look like it was I would call it very futuristic looking.
Mm-hmm.
And we were on the 25th floor on the corner, so we had a great view out of our hotel.
Yeah, just that those corner windows. I mean, how great is that being above New York? Yeah.
We came in the room and I was like, this is the best room I've ever stayed in.
Yep.
So this is the sketchbook I took.
Okay.
Or I took two, but so we were in Ocean Grove, New Jersey for a couple days, and then we rode the train into Manhattan.
Uh-huh.
So this is a statue that's in Columbus Circle, or it's at the south end of Central Park. It's the USS Maine Monument. Kind of a quick statue drawing.
That's cool. Those horses look pretty good up there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, so this was a restaurant we went to called the Shaken Crab, kind kind
The
of a seafood
shaking
thing.
crab.
Yeah, I did it quick because the restaurant stuff I do quick if they bring my food quick.
Yeah, yeah.
This is something called the Galaxy Diner.
Uh-huh.
That's my wife.
Uh-huh.
I never can
Good,
get a
good.
good likeness of my
No, it's pretty
wife.
good likeness. Pretty good
You think
likeness.
so? Okay.
Yeah, I
Anyway,
recognized her.
there you go. Okay, so this I drew on these are out of order. This I drew on the train. It's the train coming from Asbury Park to Manhattan.
Uh-huh.
We had about an hour and a half train ride.
Hmm.
Um,
This is
so
like
this
kayfabe. Go ahead.
this is Michelle. Yeah, this is Michelle at the Museum of Natural History. She was sitting. It was kind of in the corner, and it was a diorama on New York woodland. And
Mm.
so there was a deer, and so I thought it was. So I drew that. Now this and a couple of these I'll draw and I'll take a picture and then I'll finish them up later. So I mean, so it's not. And this is one I did that on for sure.
Is that like the Jersey Pine Barrens or something like that area? What the
No, I think it's
dioramas
like
of?
upstate New York, I think.
Okay.
And then this is the subway stop in Times Square.
Cool.
Let's see. Oh, and then this I drew at the Museum of Natural History, and I actually did this one before the other one. This was the first thing I drew there, and I wasn't happy with it, so I didn't work on it. You can tell the stuff I don't like because I don't work on it very long. This is Times Square.
Cool.
I sat down in Times Square and I drew, and I took a picture because I wanted to finish some details later, but this was kind of a on-the-spot drawing. And this guy right here is a guy in Times Square called the Naked Cowboy.
Uh-huh.
I think on Letterman they used to talk to him. He's been out in Times Square forever. He was a cowboy hat and tidy whities. And he was talking to some girl, and when I drew him. So this is a Uniqlo store, and Michelle was shopping for clothing. I bought some T-shirts. They have nice T-shirts. And
Is that the one where you commented about perspective on when you posted it?
I don't. What did I say? That it was
Well,
off?
just about on-site sketching helps with perspective.
Oh yeah, this was the one. Yep. It was either this one or the Times Square one. I forget which one.
Okay.
But
I think it's
yeah,
that one.
it may have been this one. But anyway, so I drew this, and then the last thing I drew this at Chicago O'Hare Airport while we were waiting for our plane to come back.
Yeah.
We were from New York to Chicago to Oklahoma City. I think that's the last thing. That's the last thing I drew.
Well, you're a great traveler compared to me. It sounds like you just enjoyed every inch of moving around and.
Oh my gosh, I had a blast.
Awesome. That is awesome.
I'm looking
And
for
no problems with like
nope.
people muscling you for having a mask on or anything like that.
Nope. Oh, absolutely not.
Okay, cool.
We saw a few people wearing masks, but very few.
Mm-hmm.
There was never any kind of like, hey, how come you're not wearing a mask?
Okay.
The only thing I would say is, holy cow, I saw a lot of people using drugs.
Oh man, that's awful.
Like on the street oh yeah. I mean, it's terrible. And I mean, whatever you feel about drug use or whatever.
Of course, I remember my
this
Manhattan
was
trip. You could smell it from just the person walking in front of you, smoking some marijuana, and that was back in the 80s. I mean, so yeah, they're gonna jump all over however much slack you give them on drugs.
Yes. Well, I can't. I was looking for somewhere. I got a sketchbook. Well, here's part. So I went through a phase, like I was telling you, where I drew with a Sharpie. This is a Sharpie, and it was kind of good because it was kind of direct, but I don't know. This isn't the one I'm looking for. Oh, that hey.
Yeah.
What is that from? That's from 13. I always date by. I used to just put a year on them. Now I date and
19.
Yeah, I date my drawings because it's fun to see them.
Sure. Yeah. No. It's a great way to do journaling. To have.
Well, and you can look for. I mean, here's an example. So this is it's not drawing from life, but this is a comic strip. Well, I didn't date it, but I drew this. This is I was working for a while on a comic book with my cousin,
Yeah,
and
I remember this
and
story.
oh yeah, it was. I mean, and anyway, so I drew like a little thumbnail thing, but it never
Hmm.
went anywhere because you know, he he's he's a good
Well,
guy, but he's not a good comic book guy.
everybody realizes it's going to turn into work, whatever you
Oh
do.
gosh, a ton
Anything
of
that you
work.
realize the time you're going to sink into anything that's a, a,
Yeah,
a nice ongoing storytelling project. I mean, forget it. It's hard.
yes, comics are hard. Comics will break your heart.
Oh yeah.
To quote Jack Kirby.
I,
Uh,
I think everybody, thinks that they might be able to find a style
yes.
shortcut or something like that, but nope. Once you dig in, you're stuck with it. It's going to take you X amount of time to get that done, and it's
Well,
and it's going to require your brain. That always hurts.
yeah, no one likes using their brain.
No.
Well, I mean, the person that I think of, um, because you showed it to me, was Doug, who
Hmm.
came up with a style that he knew he could do and repeat and all that jazz.
Hmm.
But he worked at it,
Oh
and I
yeah.
think a lot of people do that, but they're not very. He was successful at it, obviously, but
Very, very mindful in terms of his pursuit of how he was going to be doing his next phase of his life. He thought it was going to be the next phase of his life, but even there, things get complicated. Doug, he can only expect so much return on crowdfunding stuff, and it's just not enough. And now he's discovered, just like YouTube, as being, that's the thing to go with, AdSense, if you're able to,
get an audience.
build the audience. Yeah, that's all it takes. It's like this. This makes a mockery of AdSense. What we're doing, when you think about how many
Yes.
hits we typically get.
Well, Anyway, yes, I had a blast in New York. And I may have told you I was a little uptight because you keep hearing about, oh my gosh, we're gonna,
Yeah.
they're doing
Oh,
this. I'm still solo, by the way.
okay. Yeah, that is all you hear about is, and because one of my favorite sources to start the day with, who do I share this with? Somebody was saying that they always start the day with the New York Post, and it was a kind of a surprising liberal. Said he's because New York Post isn't
Yeah,
particularly,
it's not liberal, not
uh,
typically.
uh, but it's where you get all the recent horrific stories. Random stabbing,
Well,
suspect still at large.
don't get me wrong. Well, first off, let me say this. I never felt like I was in danger. There was never, but we saw in Times Square, walked through Times Square at night one time, and there was groups of kids like, kind of just
Yeah,
acting up.
yeah,
Never felt like but I was like, we won't come back to Times Square at night,
yeah.
But in the daytime, it was fine. Didn't go.
Person doesn't want to get instantly outnumbered. I mean that's not the way
Yeah.
to go these days. It seems like everybody wants to get those shots in on a guy that's down and out, and it's
Well,
like, my God, when I was a kid, that was it. I mean, if you sent a guy down, you didn't punish him after he. I mean, I'm talking about going to after school fights
right,
occurred, and it was rare to even see any kicking, really.
right,
But
and certainly not while somebody was down. Not
yeah, yeah,
really.
yeah, yeah.
It was like, okay,
The
okay.
crowd might turn on you. Yeah,
Right. Yeah. It's like, okay, go to your corners.
yeah, yeah.
But Canal Street, which I went to Canal Street one day, and again saw a lot of people smoking crack, shooting up, and I was
Oh
like,
boy.
I'm not coming back. Yeah, because you always fear. Like we were at a subway stop and we walked past a guy that was shooting up, and
Yeah,
you go, God, what if he gets pissed and just stabs me? I mean, not
yeah.
with a knife, but with a needle.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, they got so many things that send people over the edge. I forget some of it. What do they call it? Bath salts. Bath salts do it. Meth makes you really mean in a certain phase of the high. You get really mean and think it's funny. That's the deal. I think
Yeah.
the little smart ass thing that happens with meth is probably what makes it dangerous. It's like someone
Well,
really thinks they're
dangerous to be around somebody that's on meth. It's always
yeah,
dangerous
yeah,
for them.
yeah.
Let's clarify. This is not. I mean, anybody that's using any of these drugs is not going to come,
Yeah.
unless they get. They're not going to come to a good end. These,
Yeah,
and
that's
that's
the
the
deal.
sad thing.
It seems like the whole culture is talking up hallucinogenics, and they're talking it up so much that it's kind of affected my brain. It's like, you know what? I'd like to try to trip out someday and
Oh,
see
jeez.
see if my brain got modified and I saw things X way. Walk through some. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to scream there. Walk through some doors there and all that kind of stuff. Doors of
Okay.
perception.
Okay. Calm down, Terrence McKenna.
Yeah, yeah.
Do the what's the thing that fasting will do that too?
Yeah, oh, yeah,
Fasting
yeah.
is safe.
Oh,
It's
there's all
safe.
sorts of ways to
Yeah, yeah.
alter your states.
Mine is altered with caffeine and
Yeah.
you know
Oh yeah.
other things that are perfectly legal and allowed.
Well,
Yeah.
that's really cool. I really, I'm getting a contact high from you on that traveling to New York. That's really a cool thing.
Oh, dude, it was
you guys
fun.
were there how long? I mean, how much of the
Oh,
time
geez.
did you have to devote to visit with the person you were there to see?
Well, it worked out really good because I mean, this was we were gone from the 18th and we came back on the 27th. So we were out of town 9 days. So the 18th was or 2 Thursdays ago. We flew out. We went to Ocean Grove and we spent a day. Well, we spent until Sunday in Ocean Grove. We saw our friend. Our friend just had heart surgery, so she's very limited on what she can do, and she just moved out of Manhattan. So we helped her, rearrange some stuff in her house and do some other things. And then we took the train into Manhattan, and then we were in Manhattan until from Sunday to Saturday, and then we flew back. And that was about as long. I had a lot of fun, and I mean, it was so expensive. Everything was expensive.
Oh, I bet.
Oh my gosh. I mean, every meal we ate, except for maybe like a cheap breakfast, everything was like $60 for the two of us.
Oh boy.
We went to this Italian restaurant. We got spaghetti and meatballs, but it's some family style. So they brought us this huge thing of spaghetti and meatballs, and it was expensive. And we bought bread, this big platter of bread, and it was like $17. I remember that. I forget how much the spaghetti was, but we got done, and there was so much left. I had to box it up, and I gave it to a homeless lady on the street. Which we've done that before when we've ate at places where we're like, we're not going to be able to eat all this.
Yeah, sure.
Lady with a kid.
That's nice. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well, karma. But
Yeah, the current karma's out there. It comes for you, believe me.
yeah. Well, yeah. Anyway, but we had fun, and honestly, so the last couple times we've gone to New York, I felt like I was in danger of some sort. Never really felt like that this time.
Everyone,
for whatever reason, just felt like completely comfortable at all times. Other than getting off the subway and had to walk past the two guys on the stairs. One of them was smoking crack and one of them was shooting up something.
Good
and they
Lord.
never were threatening. it was just
It's
like
just
I was
you,
too close to
yeah,
that. I don't want to be
yeah.
that close to that kind of drug use.
You guys are too edgy for me. Yeah,
Yeah, but hey man, I don't know. I mean, but yeah, it was cool. It was a lot of fun.
yeah.
It was, but it,
On that sort of thing, it's like maybe this guy won't even like me giving him some side eye if I feel like it, and I better not.
yeah, just kind of. I mean, I don't know. I saw a great thing. Uh, there's a YouTube video, and the guy, I don't know what the guy did, but his thing is, what do you do when you're walking down the street and there's somebody that's like staring you down or whatever, kind of looking
Mhm.
at you? Do you look away? Do you? And he had a perfect little thing. You kind of give him that nod, like, "What's up, man?" And it works
Mhm.
every single, because it disarms people, and they don't take it like you're running from them, but they don't take it like a challenge either.
Mhm.
And I've used that a million times, and I used it a few times on the trip too, because it's just like, people are just like, oh, okay, the immediate reaction is, hey, what's up, man? And you know,
Just always have a copy of your new released rap CD, and then just hand it to whoever makes a
yes,
point of
and
getting in your face, saying, "Hey, did I give you one of
listen,
these?"
yeah, listen to my new CD,
Yeah, yeah, please,
or you
and
can,
react to my webpage. And it's like
yeah,
all of a sudden
they're like, get out of
you're
here.
you're on Team Scott Sackett at that point.
Yeah, they become your guerrilla street team.
Yeah,
No, or the other thing, you go the opposite route thing is like, you can tell them, well, can I tell you about my Lord and Savior Jesus
yeah,
Christ?
don't do that. I
And then
guess
they're like,
not
no,
nowadays.
man, get away from me.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That might be a very good tactic to say,
Yeah, just
okay,
tell them like, hey,
just give them something
anyway.
that basically is
Yeah,
anathema. Yeah, let's see if I say the
yeah,
word
they're
right.
just like,
Anathema.
I don't want to talk to you, dude. Go
Yeah,
away.
yes. Oh my God, get away from me.
Yeah, I don't want to hear about it. Anyway, but yeah, it was fun. I was ready to come back. I felt bad because I should be farther along in my comic, and I'm not. I had to clean my studio because we had ticks, or my dog had ticks.
Oh boy,
So we had to get the house sprayed, and my studio was such a wreck
how much did that
that,
cost? Because there may be come a day. I just dosed my cat's neck today, not because I had them, because I don't want them. And that's all I depend on to keep them at bay. Because they will happen if you don't do something about them. If you
oh
got
yeah, and
animals,
there's, well, and our problem was, which you'll run into this problem with your cats, because our problem was we were walking our dog in the neighbors' yards,
uh huh.
and your
Yeah, and
cats are strays.
I've got several. Yeah, I've got all the feral ones laying around. You're right.
I don't know what it cost. My wife arranged it all. If you want, I can
Hmm.
check with her and let you
No,
know.
that's all right. I just
If you get in a bind on that, let me know.
oh no,
I got a guy.
I've got some. Oh, okay, but I've got some extremely good stuff that did work the last time I had a flea festation. I got this the stuff that is good for fleas, and
Oh, that's
it
good.
got rid of them.
Oh, that's good.
But it takes like a worrying about it from that point forward. It's like, how much am I poisoning myself now that I put all that
Yeah.
down in my environment?
What am I in for here
Yeah, yeah.
exactly?
What kind of cancer did I just open myself up to?
Well, it's like when my wife tells me, if you don't turn on the radio, you're gonna ruin your hearing, and I'm like, you know what? I'm 55. Who cares?
Yeah,
It's, it's like how much worse is it gonna
I guess
get?
every day without some sort of capability you used to enjoy is a day that's like you're regretting.
Yeah.
Yeah, not taking care of your teeth or whatever.
Oh yeah. Well. Yeah.
Okay, I just did a weirdo and a
Nice.
phony. Yeah, that's about to come up. I was going to tell you in terms of sharing what I've been doing. I've been doing the Seinfeld method. That it's changed my life. I've gone a solid 2 weeks of working consistently on. Well, I don't count my log, so you might as well just call it two separate projects. But my log is part of the time spent. And I use my boxing timer, which gives me 13 minutes, 2 minute breaks, and then another 13 minutes. So 26 solid minutes of any one project. And I just set the time aside every day to do that. And the only reason I'm doing that is so I can get my X, like Jerry Seinfeld recommends for how he used to make sure he was writing his jokes. Was that every day that he wrote jokes, he gave himself an X.
Oh.
And every and you know what? When you start that, it becomes like a chain letter. It's like, hey man, I need my X for the day.
Yep.
And it's a weird mental thing that has just key has just turned, and it's like, man, I wish I'd been doing this my entire life. Because
it's fun. Now you said something about that when I was traveling, I think, and I told you that because you were saying you broke a comic down into panels, I think, and when I would do comic conventions and I was going to take samples, I would do that. I would come up with a script, and then I would figure out like how many pages are in this script, and I would figure out like, well, when is the convention? And so I would write down like however many days, and I would do like, okay, I got to do a panel, and it'd be like I got to do 2 panels a night or whatever it was, and it was just a way of tracking my progress, so that I mean, same kind of thing. It's just kind of tricking yourself to keep moving, basically.
Yeah, I forget. I forget. I noticed that you had your little comment on it, and it's like, I forget what I was saying about the number of panels.
Otis and
Deal
and Otis.
Oh yeah, I said I was getting X amount of, even if I only spent a half hour a day, I was typically getting X amount of stuff done, and it didn't matter. And then I went on to explain that it's just all about the discipline. It's all about returning to the task is all it is. And that's just a system that you're just unstoppable once you have the system of always producing. Because at the end of I forget, there's a silly thing. If you write, some page a day, you may at the end of the year, you've got like 2 novels basically written, if you want to look at it that way.
Well, the guy that I always think of when you talk about that is a guy like a Brandon Sanderson, who just writes so much stuff.
Well, I'm glad you know about him, because I thought I was the only one that had done a semi-deep dive on him. And oh, well, no, you're talking about the sci-fi writer, right? There's another guy.
Fantasy writer.
Yeah, fantasy writer. No, there's another guy that is the best-selling author in the world. That is, what is his name? Patterson. That one guy that you guys recommended that, or no, we were all in a big hubbub about that. The son of Doc Savage, kind of, or the origin of Doc Savage.
Because Patterson is writing a Doc Savage novel, I believe, because he's written a shadow novel, which I've read and I hate. Yeah,
I mean, he farms everything out. He's got these guys. He does the outlines. He sends it over to, I guess, someone he considers trustworthy with the outline. And I guess he puts the finishing lick on it or whatever. But that's no way to write something that you want to come out trippingly and enjoyable. That's not, you get close to your product if you're a writer and you worry over it. And he's not. I think the guy on this one thing I heard. He said he can have 30 projects on his desk at any one time. You can't write 30 books at once. I mean, him handing off outlines like that is,
Well, so
but I mean, they end up readable though. Is the point? I mean,
right? Yeah, Brandon Sanderson is a science fiction writer. Writes fantasy and science fiction, and I heard about him because during the pandemic, he wrote, when everyone was stuck at home, he wrote like 7 novels and didn't release them, and then he made Kickstarters of them.
Oh man!
And it's like the best-selling Kickstarter, the highest-selling Kickstarter ever, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me kind of wonder. Like, I read about that, and I was like, "Who is this guy?"
Yeah.
And so I asked a friend of mine at church that reads a lot of fantasy, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I've read some of his stuff." And I was at Half Price Books, and they had one of his books, and his books are
long.
They're all like 700 pages.
Yeah. It's not like he's not giving you your money's worth.
No. Anyway.
But he is apparently. I've seen critiques of his stuff, and someone that a female fantasy writer was characterizing him as someone that is more like a Hemingway-esque type of writer that doesn't go in for big purple prose and stuff. So I admire that. It's like I'd rather read that than somebody that thought they were a big deal poet or something,
Yeah, Wired did it. There was a deal. Wired writer wrote a piece about him that basically lambasted him because he's a Mormon. So of course it was like, there can't be a Mormon.
Well, that's probably half his work ethic is probably based entirely on being, a good church going guy.
Not a guy that's going to get drunk every night and
exactly.
party or whatever. Yeah, well, and and that was the thing is they were kind of criticizing his taste in movies and and all this kind of stuff, But it's like, well, I mean, whatever you think about Mormons.
Ask my mom what she thinks about no. Anybody that is semi-traditional on Christianity is like, there's going to be a cringe reaction when you bring up the idea that somebody else believes the Messiah too has come and gone or has been here. You don't do that to people with a whole lot of solid Christian belief,
Well, I'm kind of a live and let live guy.
Yeah, I know. We all are because we appreciate the fact that Mormons are obviously super stable, super.
I mean,
super positives. Yeah.
Hey,
except for Romney. We've got a lot of positives.
Say what you will about it, but there's something about the idea that somebody is stable in like maybe their relationships or their just their beliefs and their mental outlook, and they have a positive attitude, and that alone will get you a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of stuff done.
Oh yeah. A lot good in life will come your way.
Yeah, Well, it's just like I was talking about New York. There are things in your life. If you avoid them, you'll be better off.
Oh yeah. It's like don't sample everything. It's stupid.
Right.
Even though that it was the ongoing philosophy for a lot of the era when I grew up. Hey, you know what? I'm reading something you might be semi-interested in right now, or rather I'm listening to it. It's read by Patti Smith, the old person that put out Horses, if you remember that album.
Yeah.
And
she did Rush Limbaugh's theme song.
Oh, really? No, that's the Pretenders.
Oh, that's the Pretenders. That's the
and I think she
Patty.
No, it's yeah. I saw her open for, or rather, I saw Iggy open for her one time on a show. Chrissy Hine. Or not, is that
Chrissy
it?
Hine.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
so.
that's who it is. Okay,
Uh-huh.
never mind.
Mhm.
Yeah, and she only did that because her dad was a fan of Rush.
Mhm.
He licensed the music, and
And
then
she let her. And she let
and
him.
she let him, not because she was a fan of his, but her dad was, and
Uh-huh.
out of respect to her dad, she let him, you know, lease it or whatever, however he arranged it, you
Uh-huh.
know.
Yeah, yeah. And but Patti Smith, she did she did
Yeah, yeah,
her time with CBGBs and all that era.
right. Yeah, she
And
was. Yeah.
she's got a audio book I'm listening to called Kids. And what it's about is when she was raising up and getting to know the art scene during that time, and her apparently her best friend in life was Robert Mapplethorpe, which
Oh, really?
yeah, and so I mean they were practically raised together, um, and not raised together, but they started.
Yeah, yeah.
They got to know each other pretty early in life, and when they were kids, because they were trying to be all edgy and be artists and all that. And
Right.
she recounts one incident where some tourist was all excited to come over and see what they were up to at some sort of installation, and then when they got close, I said, they're just kids. You can get kind of pretentious when you're the age she was and all that, but that's where you got to be. You got to be young. You got to go out there and not be afraid of being stupid if you want to be a performing artist, and
Oh, absolutely.
see what works. But anyway, it's fun. But of course, her trying to evoke that fun period that you'll never get back from New York. I thought you might be kind of interested in that too.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That's
I'm only on disc one. It may turn to crap. I don't know.
I bought a book in New York and I read it on the trip. I finished it when we got home. Called James Dean: A Short Life,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big James Dean fan. I have a bunch of James Dean books. This was one of the better ones. It was actually really good. And you kind of are like, would I, learn anything? But it was written in '74, so it's not long after he was dead, or after he passed away. And a lot of the people that knew him were interviewed in the book. And so it kind of had a lot of primary sources that some of the other books I have did not have. And the guy that wrote it, he focused a lot on his childhood, which most of the books that I've read tend to focus on him later days.
Sure.
So this went a lot into it was pretty good. I enjoyed it.
Well, he was a little bit of a jock, wasn't he? He was a pretty good basketball player.
Oh, yeah. He was a good basketball player. He played baseball. I don't know if he played football. I think he may have ran track.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was a farm kid.
Yeah.
And,
if you want to get some attention when you're a kid, you can get good at being what everybody gets in the car and goes and rides for 40 miles to watch the game. Yeah.
Yep.
Back in that era.
40s.
And in his.
But yeah, that was a pretty good book.
That sounds like a good book.
And while I was reading it, it had pictures, and it had a picture of his apartment in New York City.
Oh yeah.
And I realized I had never looked for it, and so I looked for it one day. I found it, and it looked from the outside as a real distinctive appearance, because the pictures of him on the inside, he lived on the top floor, and his apartment had a round window, and you can see that round window from the ground,
And you just happened to be you had pretty good proximity to this thing too, right?
Well, I was in New York. I was closer then than I am now, but yeah, I wasn't far. It was.
Well, I thought you said due to the fact that the person you were mainly visiting was actually kind of close to it.
Well, it was close to her house, but she didn't live in Manhattan anymore. She had moved to New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, but yeah, Michelle and I, it was on 69th, and Michelle and I first, oh, I don't know, a dozen or so times we went to New York City. We stayed on 70th, so it's right around the corner from where we're at. I just never, when I was up there, it never was like, oh, I should look for James Dean's apartment. Until this time, I happened to buy, and I got it for cheap. It was on the discount rack at one of the bookstores, and I was reading through it one night, and I go, oh, I ought to look for his apartment. I know where this is at. It had his address. I was like, oh,
That's kind of cool.
yeah.
Did it have a plaque?
It had a plaque there.
Okay, cool.
Actually.
Well, that's always fun at the when you go to the observatory, the Griffith Observatory. Heck, they've got a statue.
Oh yeah,
statue of him.
Yeah, they got a bust of him, don't they?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just because he had a knife fight, and
Yeah.
I guess they also, I guess they shot in the planetarium.
Yeah, they shot in the planetarium.
Yeah, I've been to the Griffith Observatory probably about 3 times anyway.
When I was a kid, those kind of planetariums were pretty cool because they had that big machine in the middle.
Yeah.
That, you know, I don't know what they're like now, but I imagine they're not like that.
Do they still ever try to put on planetarium shows? I don't know.
I don't know. When I was a kid here in Oklahoma City, there was that one at the fairgrounds.
Yeah, that's one I went to at least once.
Yeah, we went there when I was a kid, and then later that became when the Science Museum moved, that became the art museum,
Mm-hmm.
And I went to life drawing classes out there, and they used the round room that the planetarium was in as a room that they would have a pottery at Christmas time. They had a pottery sale, and all these people that were in the pottery classes could sell their pottery, and they would sell pottery sometimes cheap, sometimes not cheap, depending on what you got. But I mean, Michelle and I always went. I bought this there, kind of this weird looking thing.
Yeah, perfect.
You know,
perfect
and it was probably $3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, and I got a couple other things from them that, you know, we always tried to go because I always thought it was cool buying the weird, you know, mug that somebody made that didn't quite look like, you know, I was like, oh, this came out kind of ugly. It's like, hey, that's cool, you know?
Yeah, I always say, you know, about, you know, too many office supplies and all that, but I always appreciate on YouTube with these people have links to what they just showed you using, you know, those, well, maybe I want that. You know, let me have that.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely have too much stuff, but oh well. That's part of life.
Yeah, it's better than not having enough of it, I guess.
Like I tell my wife, it's the curse of affluence, you know, however you want to define that. I mean, it's just like we were leaving Manhattan and we were going to ride the bus up to Harlem and then transfer and then ride the bus, then the other bus to the airport. And we kind of missed the first bus. We had plenty of time. But it's like, well, if we're there at 7, we can, the bus was delayed, and so I looked on Uber, and I was like, you know what, Uber's $50. I'm doing the Uber. You know, it's just you know.
Could have bought a basket of bread for that $50.
Yeah, I know. It's like, no, one of the guys at work, he always converts any money figure into like what you could buy.
What you could have
bought instead of buying donuts for the room, you could have bought yourself, you know, this or whatever. It's like, knock it off. You know, that's craziness.
Yeah,
it'll make you crazy if you think like that. Time, you should think about time like that, not money.
Yeah. No, that is the beauty of that. The whole X thing. All of a sudden, my time from this point forward will have one little chip that says, you did something good today. You know?
It's like the drawing equivalent of AA. What did you do? One more day of sobriety. One more day of So tomorrow I'm probably gonna go downtown. I take it. Speaking of bad influences,
Uh, well, I guess if I showed up, you could give me all my art supplies.
I would do that if you showed up. I'll
Do
bring
you,
them.
do you want me to distract you, or do you want to have a solo?
No. I was talking about you being distracted from getting your ex.
Oh no, my X occurs because I'm so rigid about making sure it doesn't matter. I don't go to sleep until I get it.
Oh, okay.
I've been up at actually I've cheated. I've given myself an X even though I've gone into the next day.
Oh, okay.
So
So you'll get your ex whether you hang out with
I
me.
get my X. Yeah.
It's supposed to be. Now it's going to rain tomorrow night, but it's not supposed to rain during the day.
Well then
So
we're good.
yeah, it should be. It might be a little warmish, but
Oh yeah. It's going to be miserable. I mean, we'll have sticky teas for sure.
yeah. Oh yeah, I wore shorts in New York. It was a couple days. I was walking around. There were people in like jackets and stuff, and I'm like,
Yeah.
man, it's I mean, it wasn't overly hot. But man, it was humid, and I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
how do you guys take this crap?
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah. It's been humid, awful humid here lately.
Yeah. If you want to join me, I should be downtown by 10:45. My boss is not going to be in tomorrow, so I can leave pretty much when I want to,
All right.
barring some kind of weird. Now, occasionally somebody will have a meeting or something, but yeah, if you want to meet me at, I'll be there about 10:45,
At the
and
usual spot.
at the usual spot. I'll bring the supplies. Yeah, we can hang out.
Okay. Yeah, we'll go to
Yeah,
the library and do all that stuff, and maybe hang out and sketch a little bit with our new Muji pens. And
There you go. Sounds like a good time. Oh, I want to show you something else I bought. And when it comes to ridiculous art supplies, I bought me a sketchbook.
we'll see it.
And I bought a couple sketch.
Nice
But this is
moleskin kind of thing.
well, yeah, but it's paper. It has 168 pages,
Uh-huh.
and it's a Japanese thing, but it's sewn together, so it's kind of flat. I haven't drawn on it much. I may bring it tomorrow.
Hmm.
But but I bought it, and then I got this plastic cover online for it that's got a little thing you can put a pencil in there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so
That
it's
is
kind
cool.
of a nice.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
but it was stupid expensive.
It looks like it ought to be stupid expensive, though.
Yeah, but I was on vacation. Money doesn't matter when you're on vacation. Money and calories don't matter when you're
Yeah.
right. Anyway, okay, cool.
Yeah. My other thing, I do I'm writing a novelization of my script, which is really cool. I think that gives me the most satisfaction, having to sit and think through descriptive passages and stuff like that as a writer than anything that I do other than art. And the third thing I do is the iPad, and then the first thing I do is my log entry, which
What's the log entry?
Oh, it's just like your daily journal, and it's just journaling. But I try to keep it different. I don't just talk about what went on in the day. I talk about what's on my mind,
Oh, that's
and
good.
that works out pretty well. And plus, I've added I divide it down the middle, and I transcribe that book of Elmore Leonard westerns. I've got this one short story I'm transcribing, and man, I tell you what, I go straight from that into my own writing effort, and that's nice to stimulate the brain by one word at a time, copying a guy like Elmore Leonard. It's a real perk
That's
me up.
funny, man. That's
Yeah,
kind of cool.
yeah.
That's pretty cool. I know I work with a guy that when he became a Christian, he transcribed the entire New Testament
Wow.
as a devotional. Yeah.
Well, that is
My,
really cool. You talk about the the speed you're glossing over things, your retention of doing something like transcription is, there's just no comparison. What you're
Yeah.
going to take away from something.
Yep, I agree. But my grandmother, after my grandmother passed away, actually, when she was moving, I was helping her move, and she was very concerned. She's like, "I need to find my papers." And I go, "What are you looking for, Grandma?" And she goes, "Oh, I," and kind of find out what she did is she wrote every day in a notebook,
Mm-hmm.
and it was journaling, and she would write, you may think this is crazy or whatever, but she write letters to God, and she was
Uh-huh.
always be like, how are you doing? I'm doing this, help me with this, and
Well,
you know,
and that has no
and she
doubt.
always ended it with "Have a good day."
Yeah. Which, like, yeah. My mom had stuff that I published for her as a little book, and she just loved that little Lulu book, or is it Lulu, or yeah, Lulu.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's Lulu.
man, that she probably your grandmother probably would have loved to have seen that turned
Oh
into a
yeah.
PDF and a book.
Well, she passed away in 2000, so she was a little early for that.
Before
A
that
little
era.
before
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I got one more thing I want to show you before
Okay. We
my
call it
grandma.
quits. Yeah.
It's downstairs. Yeah, hang on
Okay.
a second. I got it.
Yeah, my weirdo came out all right. I crowded the top though because I just started with the car at random in the middle.
Oh yeah.
But that's all right. Weirdos don't have big dome heads, so that's fine.
Right. Yeah. I'll grab two things while I'm down here to show you. These are two of the books I bought. I bought way too many books while we were out of town, but I bought a copy of Rum Punch.
Oh, that's a good one.
It was on the sidewalk.
Mm-hmm.
It was on the sidewalk at the Strand for $3. I couldn't resist.
Is that Jackie Brown's source material, or
Jackie Brown? Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So the first book I'm going to show you, I already talked about, the James Dean book.
Oh yeah.
So the second thing I bought, which is going to make you laugh, I think, because I love this stuff. I got the Silver Age Supergirl omnibus.
Wow.
This was $30, man. But it's.
Oh wow! No, that's great art. I mean, it's just strictly commercial. Figure it out.
Exactly.
Panel art, but it's gorgeous. Yeah. Is it? It's not. In most cases, it's not Wayne boring, is it? It's
no.
It's mostly.
It's Jim Mooney, Otto Binder.
Yeah.
But I think it's mostly Jim Mooney.
Man, look at that!
Oh
look
yeah,
at that
no. It's all Jim Mooney.
Wow.
Otto Binder's the writer.
Right.
On some of this, I believe Jim Mooney drew every one of these stories.
Wow.
Oh nope. Al Plastino drew the first one, and then it's all Jim Mooney. Which I love Jim Mooney stuff, but it's very. Very commercial art.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's done art. Against a ticking clock. Yep.
Sure. Yeah, but anyway, I had got I've been a fan of Mooney for a while because he did. I'll go through a little Jim Mooney spill before we. So Mooney, I think it's this book he inked.
Oh,
Mooney he done finishes on this. Yeah, mm-hmm. This was in the late 70s, mm-hmm. And I think this book is great. The art on this, mm-hmm. When I found this recently and looked at it, I was like, oh my gosh, it's so cool. It's just solid comic drawing, which is what mm-hmm. I love. Not mm-hmm. necessarily flashy. So we went to Arkansas, and so I started picking up some Jim Mooney stuff, and I realized he had done Supergirl in the 50s, And so at the bookstore in Tulsa, they had this showcase, and it was like $10. And so I bought
Oh
it. And this,
wow, you got to have that, all that great black and white art.
the great black and white stuff, but it's
Mhm.
only a dozen or I don't know. It's anyway. So at somewhere, and I can't find it right now. I got at Half Price Books. They had a color version of something like this. And so I bought that. This is volume 2. But
Mhm.
anyway, I saw that omnibus and I thought, oh God, I got it for $30. I got to get this.
Mhm.
But I mean, I love this. Just a real simple.
No, it's
It's
very
not
good.
golden age. It's not that. It's well drawn, but it's pretty. It's pretty
No,
basic.
it's super
drawing.
super solid. He's there because he draws a very appealing female, and
Yeah.
there's nothing harder than that. And so, yeah, the guy's a powerhouse of talent, as
Oh,
far as I'm
absolutely.
concerned.
Absolutely. Anyway, that's my New York story, so to speak.
Very cool. No, it sounds like it was a
Oh, dude, it was a blast.
pretty
I had so much
groovy
fun.
time.
I had so much fun, man. I would. The bad thing was we had so much luggage and spent so much money,
Yeah.
but man, that's what you do on vacation.
Yeah, no,
You know.
you guys will. That's what you were there for, is to
Oh, absolutely.
change your scene. Yeah.
Absolutely. And my before I left, my boss said, "I want you to check your email while you're gone." And so I can clock in from my phone. And so I'd clock in from my phone like while at breakfast.
Uh-huh.
And then while we were waiting for the food, I'd check my emails, and then when I got done, I'd clock out, and when I got back, I had like 12 emails. Whereas normal, I'd have like 400 emails. So it was so nice coming back. I was like, I told him, I said, man, I'm doing this every time. It was nice. We had a good time. Michelle's going back. Her friend is having a second heart stent put in next week sometime. So I got to take Michelle to the airport at the crack of dawn, and but she's going to New Jersey. She's not going to go in Manhattan.
I want to hear what the girlfriend thinks of those stents. Is it life changing? In other words, because she's doing it to save her life, but when she gets them, is she pleased with them? That's what I wonder.
Well, she's only a few weeks out from the first one. So,
yeah, sure.
So she needs to get about 6 weeks out for the
she's got to
second
heal.
one.
Yeah.
Right, because she was pretty weak when we saw her, but hopefully so.
Well, yeah, they mesh. It's just amazing anybody can survive what they do to you. They
had to paddle her hard on the something they were doing. It made her heart stop.
They roughed her up with a rib splitter. Yeah.
Well, they went through her vein, but
okay. So they're able to work without being that invasive the way I.
Oh no, yeah, they go through your vein, but they so she's Jewish, and I mean we talk about religion all the time, and I said I sure have 2 questions. I said, one, when they did the paddles on you, did you see the light?
Yeah.
And 2, when you saw the light, was Jesus there?
Yeah.
And she laughed, and she said, I saw the light, but she says, because they didn't knock me out completely. I go, oh my gosh. Apparently she was semi-conscious while they were doing part of this.
Well, of course, they had a worse era for it, but the way to typically come out of surgery and be screwed up for life was the anesthesiologist not feeding you enough oxygen, and killing your brain, So,
end up like what's his name? That senator from Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
Senator Fetterman. Yeah, well.
Fetterman, there you go.
Fetterman. Hey, Scott, it's good to talk to you. I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good. Hang on and we'll talk a little bit afterwards.
Okay. In broadcast now.